everyone. I'm Allan Evans, the CEO of Unusual Machines. We trade on the New York Stock Exchange American under the ticker UMAC. I'm here to provide you an update on what's happened since I was last able to have a conversation with you. As a reminder, Unusual Machines is a drone company. We are absolutely focused on the production and sale of small drones and essential components, backpack-sized drones. We have a market leadership position with really strong brands in what's called first-person view, or FPV. Those are sort of the sport drones. You've probably seen it on drone racing, or you've seen people wear the headsets in maybe some of the videos from Ukraine where they go to blow up tanks. So that's small backpack-sized drones, and then specifically in these very agile FPV drones is where our company sits. We're doing three things to continue to grow. We have a retail business through a specialty store that's doing about $5 million a year, growing 30% year over year with about 30% gross margins. And we're leveraging that retail business to onshore to the US production of critical drone components for a lot of other enterprise customers. And really what our focus is taking these component sales and partnering with defense companies because they're looking for FPV providers, both in the US and in Europe. The opportunity is really that China's dominated this market. It's about a $20 billion market, and now the US in particular is interested in diversifying the supply chain. And so there's a real brand new market created by both conflict and legislation that gives us a real opportunity to build a business. And our aim is not to become a defense contractor, but instead to become a component producer that makes dual use parts for both consumers and the government. And we see a real chance to replace a large part of Chinese supplier business in the very near term. So the marketplace environment that's being created for us is being created by a huge amount of legislation. There was the American Securities Drone Act that passed last December. That says that no US government money can be used to buy or fly Chinese drones. Then there was also the National Defense Authorization Act, which sort of defines what it is to be a US drone. The Replicator Initiative is one of several initiatives inside the Department of Defense. That one is spending $500 million a year to help build out small drones and the infrastructure for small drones. And we expect actually about $2 billion in just not even programmatic money, but just government contract money to go support the small drone ecosystem to be spent over about the next 15 months. That's really the primary driver that the US government's using to sort of facilitate onshoring and building out a domestic supply chain. And then you're seeing even more bipartisan support this summer. Examples are the Countering Chinese Communist Party Drones Act, which is being considered by the different groups for inclusion in next year's NDAA or budget for the US government. And what that would do is that would actually either tariff or kick out some of the major Chinese producers from even consumer sales. And so there's continuing legislative effort to create this domestic marketplace where we think we have a real opportunity. One of the major updates since we presented the opportunity, what we're doing is we have a first product in our component business that has gone all the way through the process. It's made in America. And just a week ago, it got on the Blue UAS framework. What that is the Defense Innovation Unit, sort of this part of the DoD. They do audits, external audits where they go in and do cybersecurity and country of origin and review of all the drone parts. And our part went through that whole audit and got listed on the Blue framework list. That allows government agencies or other companies to buy our component without the normal procurement headaches. And like I said, it was only about a week ago that this got on the list. And since then, we've actually had several consumers purchase it, which is great, but also 20 different organizations buy multiple units for evaluation to consider placing much larger orders as part of their build out. So we're seeing really good initial market feedback around it. You know, your standard evaluation, which would lead into contract process, which we're really excited about because we've proven we can execute designing products and getting them all the way through to have the appropriate certifications for the industry we're in. We are the first ones in the US to get a FPV part specifically on the Blue framework. And we really see that being one of our two competitive advantages. We're really going first mover advantage in the US. We're the first one to get all the way through. But then we also are very competitively priced. This flight controller, so it's a little drone brain for FPV, is the first one we have done, is priced at about $50, which is exactly the same pricing as the equivalent product out of China. So people are really excited about our price in a place where there is price sensitivity, and they're excited that we're there because they've been looking for solutions. We have a lot of other parts in the roadmap that we're trying to get through as quickly as possible, but this one is already sort of validated market interest, and we expect to help drive a lot of business where revenues from even this single component and our component business, we could start to contribute to our bottom line as soon as this quarter 3, and into quarter 4 of next year. So this is just happening right now, and we're excited about it and expect big things from it. You see this as really being driven right now, and there's a ton of interest because of conflict. Unfortunately, because we're not warmongers, there is an ongoing conflict in Ukraine and also one in the Middle East, where, for instance, Ukraine is planning on building 1 million FPV drones, so our category of drones just this year. Russia's building a similar number. Right now, they're buying almost all of their components out of China, but the supply chains out of China are starting to be changed, and there's really a lot of looking around for alternatives. And so we're in kind of the right place to meet the market demand, not just for that, but then also for the US government that's seeing the nature of warfare change and wanting to understand it. So to capitalize on sort of this, we are launching sales into defense, not directly to governments, but to other companies that supply defense. We are already starting to see demand for our Brave 7 flight controller, and we're going to expand as quickly as we can into other products as we get them through manufacturing and get approval. We are strategically aligning our development initiatives and manufacturing capabilities to meet with the US Department of Defense's sort of modernized desire to see US production to sort of diversify the supply chain. So again, our corporate ambitions and sort of the Defense Department's greater desires are aligned and showing up at the same time. We think we can capture a lot of this emerging business in FPV between now and September 30th. That's when the government fiscal year ends. And because of the continuing resolution last year, we believe about 80% of the contracts that are going to be issued in this category are going to be issued in August and September from the US DoD this year. So we're talking to a lot of different organizations. You actually need a defense sponsor to be on the Blue framework. So we've sort of proven that with the Marine Corps Warfighting Lab as one entity we're engaged with. And, we see we're in potential for a lot of contracts as either a sub or a direct component provider. And then we think we can take advantage of this initial start, and we expect next summer to be a very promising summer for this category. And if we're in a leadership position, we think it can snowball. So we have some recently selected news. It's pretty interesting. We also do other innovative things to produce in the US to keep costs down. So we partnered with Hewlett-Packard using their multi-jet 3D printing technology for a lot of our drone parts. That allowed us to bring a lot of that back on shore, improve quality, reduce price while building it in the US. Our flight controller was approved for the Blue UAS framework. We finalized our transaction with Red Cat all the way through the working capital adjustment, and then they divested their entire stake. So we have a different cap table, which I'll update you on next from last time we spoke. And then we also, it's not just the components for defense, but as part of the Red Cat consortium, we're the primary provider of everything for their FPV drone, the Fang drone. And in that way, we're in the running for more contracts than just what we can go source. We're also in the running to be a pretty prominent subcontractor to some of the other primes. So the cap tables changed some with Red Cat selling everything. There's only 6.2 million outstanding voting shares. And that there's no shareholder concentration anymore. So if you look at anything that requires shareholder vote, like a financing, et cetera, that protects pretty much everybody who's a shareholder now from just 3 signatures and sort of interesting transactions. On a fully diluted basis, it's still about 10 million outstanding shares, just a little more. But we're really excited about the next few months where we're at. Everything is moving along at about the speed we expected it to, and we really see huge opportunities coming in the short term as a setup for changing our company and putting us in a great position to win over the next couple of years. That's all the time I have for a quick update. Again, UMAC is the ticker. We're on the New York American. I'm Allan Evans. Please reach out with any questions. Really appreciate your time today. Thank you.